what do you say we graph in slope-intercept form? Slope-intercept form, probably the most common form that you're going to graph in. The y equals mx plus b, you get y by yourself. Now, if you look at the formula, the m stands for slope, and the b, whatever number is at the end with no variable with it, that is our y-intercept. So I may have said it in the last video, but I know that these words don't have any of those letters in there, but B, the y-intercept, is where you begin. And M, the slope, is how you move to the next point. So you always plot the y-intercept first, and then you use the slope with your rise over run to find your next point. And you just need 2 points to make a straight line if you're using like a straight edge or something. But a lot of times you're going to want to use that slope to find a few points in a row, make your line extra straight. So y equals 4x minus 1. If you look, the slope is 4. I always want you to think in your head of the slope as a fraction, 4 over 1. And our y-intercept, our b, is negative 1 because it says minus 1 at the end. So you go down 1, so that's our y-intercept. It's where it crosses the y-axis. Then you use your slope from that point to find another point. So if our slope is 4 over 1, we're going to go up 4 over 1. You can do it a few times. Up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. We could go down 4 and left 1 if you want. Now this little trick in slope-intercept form, remember the way we did graph it back in the day was we made a chart and we chose our own x's. We subbed each one of them into the equation and then we got the corresponding y's. This is so much faster. So plot the y-intercept and then use the slope to find the next point. So number 2 here, negative 2/3 x plus 8. Our y-intercept is at positive 8. So go up 8, make yourself a dot. And this is the one time where fractions really aren't as scary. So if it's negative 2/3, you just go down 2 over 3. Down 2 over 3. Down 2 over 3. If you wanted to go up 2, you could go left 3. And there you go, there's your straight line. Goes on forever in both directions. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this graphing train going. A little bit of a curveball on this one. I see the y-intercept is negative 6, no problem there. But there's no number in front of that x. All it says is negative. Well, there is a number, it's just invisible. It's negative 1, but again, if you're thinking of it like a fraction, that's negative 1 over 1 for your slope. So from that dot, we're going to go down 1 over 1. The line goes on forever. The line goes on forever. Well, looking around, the line goes on forever. Here, y-intercept, negative 9. Slope is 6, but we always think of it as a fraction, so it's up 6 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. So when you have a larger number as your slope, that line just gets steeper and steeper. Oops. There we are. Y equals negative 7/8 x plus 5. 5 is our y-intercept. Our slope is negative 7/8. So we go down 7 over 8. Oh, that was a terrible line. That was just terrible. That's why it's good to use like the edge of a book or a folder or a ruler in theory. I can't use that stuff on the board, otherwise it'll just start making markings all over the place. But that was a terrible line. Sorry. Here, 5/3 x plus 4. You start with the y-intercept 4, and then our slope is 5/3, so up 5 over 3. Or we could go down 5, left 3, Cool. Let's keep practicing. Whoa. Whoa. I've got to sneeze. Gross. 10 ninths x minus 8. Our y-intercept is negative 8. Our slope is 10 ninths. So we're going to go up 10 and to the right 9. Don't freak out if you have a fraction. It actually is a little bit easier. Y equals 4. What? What? There's no x's. So let's imagine it like that. 0x plus 4. Well, you go up 4. If the slope is over 0, that's a flat line at that number. We talked about that. Or, if you want to think of it as a fraction, you go up 0 over 1, up 0 over 1, up 0 over 1. And that's another way you can get. But if it's just y equals something, it's a flat line at that number. If it's x equals something, that would be a vertical line at that number. Last one. Y equals negative 5x plus 7. Go up 7. Our slope's negative 5, so go down 5 over 1. Down 5 over 1. So keep in mind, positive slopes go up and to the right, negative slopes go down and to the right. Here's a little trickery. We're going to rewrite it into slope-intercept form first and then graph. So these are right now in what's called standard form, which is another form we'll eventually learn how to graph it. But we can always rearrange it and get y by itself. Remember when we were transforming those formulas, I said we were going to do this quite a bit. So to get y by itself, you get rid of the stuff on the same side as the equal sign by doing the inverse operation. If I need to move 4x to the other side, I need to do the opposite of 4x to both sides. That would be negative 4x. So we're going to subtract 4x on both sides, which would leave us with 8y equals negative 4x plus 24. And I don't want that 8 there. That means 8 times y. So to get rid of it, we would have to divide everything by 8. Y equals negative 4/8. We're just going to simplify that fraction. That's negative 1/2 x plus 24 divided by 8 is 3. So go 3. And our slope is negative 1/2. So we go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. If you want, you can go up 1 left 2. It's so much better than having to create a chart each time. So much more efficient. So then usually you're either adding or subtracting the x over there, and then you divide by whatever's in front of the y. So if it's positive 3x, to move it to the other side, you would subtract it. So minus 3x, negative 7y equals negative 3x plus 28. We're going to have to divide out that negative 7. Now the only thing we can do with this negative 3 over negative 7 is cancel out the negatives. 3/7 x, and then 28 divided by negative 7 is negative 4. So I'm going to move over here. Our y-intercept is negative 4. And then our slope is 3/7. So we go up 3 over 7. We go down 3, left 7 will be somewhere over there. Now I've got a curveball to throw at you here. Number 12. This form is called point slope form. Again, you'll learn how to use this form, but you always have the backup of moving it into slope-intercept form. So the way we're going to do that here is we're going to distribute whatever's outside the parentheses. 1/3 times x is 1/3 x. 1/3 of 12 is 4. So we have this. Now we need to get y by itself. All we need to unload is this minus 4. We get rid of that by doing plus 4. Y equals 1/3 x plus 8. So go up 8. Our slope is 1/3. Up 1 over 3, up 1 over 3, 4, and down 1 left. Having a hard time counting there. Now, I would like you to try looking at a graph line and see if we can turn it into slope-intercept problem. It's essentially like a fill-in-the-blank problem. We only fill in the slope and we fill in the y-intercept. So on this first one, let's really do this as a fill-in-the-blank the first time, and then we won't need to do that. Where does it cross the y-axis? It crosses at -1, so that would be our y-intercept. To figure out the slope, we just pick any 2 points. We're going to want to pick them where they definitely cross. So it crosses there and crosses here as well. So from left to right, that's up 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's up 2 over 5, so that's our slope, 2/5. Y equals 2/5 x. And then you could write plus -1, but you're just going to write it as -1. So if it intercepts below the x-axis, you would write it as minus. So looking at this one crosses at +7. Now for the slope, I see it goes down and to the right, so that means it's a negative slope. So if we look here, it's down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. -1 over 1 is -1. But you don't write -1x, you just go boop, -x. Hey, there we go. We have 2 more of those. We look for our y-intercept. Well, crosses at -7. Y equals something, x minus 7. Let's figure out a slope here. Looks like it crosses again there, so that's up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. 4 over 1 is just 4. So y equals 4x minus 7. Last one. This one crosses at +6. So y equals something x plus 6. And then for the slopage, crosses again there, that's down 2, -2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -2/5. There we go, that's our slope-intercept form.